Welcome to the Power Up Talk Show, a talk show where we bring community leaders and inspirational people together that are making an impact in our community. Hello, I am Sandy Spady, your host. Let's begin this journey together. Before I introduce my amazing guest, we are going to take it over to Deion Bass with Songbird Cocktails. Deion, what's happening?
Hey, Sandy, how's it going?
Great.
So, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, what am I going to do on the show? And I decided to give you the one thing that I always give my wife, and it's a cocktail called...
Wait, is that legal?
Oh, it's totally legal. Okay.
Just teasing.
It's called The Last Word.
Okay, I like it.
So this cocktail begins out with a little bit of lime juice. And then we move on to our Luxardo Maraschino Cherry Liqueur. Now, this isn't the traditional version because I don't use green chartreuse, I use yellow chartreuse. It's a little bit softer, and I use a little less maraschino cherry liqueur than what's the norm. Our next ingredient is going to be our yellow chartreuse. Now, this is made by two monks who live completely separate so that no one ever truly has the recipe other than they.
That's a great story.
And our last ingredient is going to be something from a hometown hero, Zach Trimmel. It is
I have a question real fast.
Go ahead.
So with two monks that usually take the silence, they don't talk to each other, how do they communicate?
They don't. They make they both make half of the recipe, and then the blender blends it together.
That's pretty
cool.
So
they never speak a word to each other. As a matter of fact, I think the monks they take a vow of silence.
Yes.
So yeah, they never speak.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I like that.
And our last ingredient is going to be our Brickway Gin. So this is made right here in Omaha, Nebraska. So when made properly, this drink is going to be very herbal, refreshing, with a citrus and floral finish. Little steak. Now for this one, since we're aerating citrus, we're going to give this a double strain. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our last word.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's have a cheers with Justin. Whoops, get over. Cheers. Okay. Whew. Deion, that could be dangerous. Kind of tastes like, no, I'm not going to say it. It is good. That's what that is. Alrighty, we are excited to begin today with my special guest, Justin Ogburn. I have a funny little story about Justin.
Uh-oh.
I feel like Justin knew me way before I knew him. Here's the story. I was getting voice messages on my cell phone from this guy named Justin. And I was like, who's Justin? And being in sales my entire life, I'm like, okay, I like his spirit. He doesn't give up. So I called you back and you said what you were doing with the talk show. And that talk show is called The Midwest Will Move You. And I said, you know what? I like his spunk. I'm going to meet with him. And so we met for coffee. And then I was on his talk show. Justin, hello again. It's so nice to see you.
You too.
So much greatness is happening. Okay, besides the fact that he was in the Navy service, right? In
21
submarines,
years.
21 years. So if
Yes,
that
ma'am.
doesn't want you to use him for purchasing of your home, hello, he saved us. He supports our company. Our country, sorry. Bad drink did me in. He is such a great human, and I just want to ask you, how do you go from Navy, he is a real estate agent, by the way, Navy to real estate? How does that happen, Justin?
So I was sitting there, like probably my last year in, and my wife pretty much told me I had to retire because she was still here, I was moving around the Navy, And I went over years without seeing my then he was 3-year-old, my youngest son. So she's like, you gotta get out. So I'm like, what am I gonna do when I get out? And so I majored in nuclear engineering. I had my master's in mechanical, but I didn't want to work for anybody. I was over that. So I was sitting there and like, I have all these rental properties. I wanted to consolidate them here. I was like, I'll manage them myself. And if I'm gonna do that, I'll manage other people's. But in order to do that, you have to be a broker. In order to do that, you have to be a real estate agent for 2 years. So that's how I got here.
And who's your real estate office?
So Headley Realty. So our office is right out the main gate over at Offutt Air Force Base. Literally like 2 minutes from the gate there.
Now my question after that is, how did you meet your wife? Was she here in this area, and that's how?
She was.
Yes.
So I was stationed here twice at Stratcom, and the first time I was here, I met her. We had about 4 first dates, and then finally we stuck, and now we've been married for 8 years.
8 years.
So she followed me to Washington when I went there, and then came back here the second time, and we got married when we got back here.
And you have 3 children?
4 now.
Wow.
So I got 3 boys and the daughter. So she's 7 months old.
And what's the age difference?
Yeah, so my oldest, he'll be 18 in March. And I got, so 2 in high school, he'll be going to college next year. And then Grayson, my youngest son, he's 5. He's at Prairie Queen Elementary. He thought it was Dairy Queen. So
that's how you got him. I love it.
He was super excited, and I had to burst his bubble. Yeah.
And then you have your newbie.
And then the newbie, my baby girl, she's my Lenny Pie, is what I call her. Her name is Lennon. So
I love it. I love it that you just go for it. Now tell me how okay, so he has this amazing show. It's called The Midwest Will Move You. What made you, okay, we heard of all his amazing talents. He's a very smart, intelligent person, okay? And then he ventures off and he does this amazing, fun talk show called The Midwest Will Move You. And that's how I got blessed. We met for coffee, and then I said, yes, I'm going to do this talk show with you. You're fun, right? And so we started the talk show. And what's so great about this talk show, it's not just a talk show. I mentioned that I want to bring sexy back to sales, and then he inverted in the talk show, Justin Timberland, sexy back. It was like so great. So how did you begin this talk show?
I think I was just sitting there at my desk, because when you get into real estate, you don't really, like any job, you don't know what you're getting into. And I'm like, well, I got to do something. I got to meet people. So then I kind of started thinking about different ways to meet people and thought that was a great way. So I kind of ventured out. That is definitely not my forte. My expertise is shooting videos or anything like that. And then I just started kind of reaching out to people. I started calling you. Actually, I think I saw that you had a ribbon cutting, and that, like, what you were doing was perfect for what I wanted to discuss on my show. And that's kind of how it started.
And we had a really good time. You'll have to check it out. How do we find that show again?
So it's on YouTube, any of the podcast channels. Just search for Midwest Will Move You, and you can probably find it.
And what's so great is that he brings entertainment into it and fun graphics. So once you start watching it, you can't stop. Like if you get on his Instagram, you're going to be there. Like you'll be like an hour later, like I'm still on Justin's Instagram, because he has so much fun with it. I feel like you were set free after you left the Navy service. Like,
yeah, a little bit.
To be you, right? I love it.
I finally got my hair cut now.
Yeah.
It's a little shorter than when you saw me.
I know, because he showed up and I'm like, you look a little different, because his hair was long. I'm like, you look different. It was such a great thing. So if you want to be on his talk show, I would definitely reach out to Justin. It's such a good time. He makes you feel comfortable, and you get to be a part of something really fun, right? Life is about having fun. Tell me, I saw that on your Instagram or website, the hassle-free approach. Now, I have known a lot of realtors, and I know everyone really goes with who they're comfortable with. And when I saw the hassle-free approach, tell me about that.
So I've been, like I said, a little over a year now. My favorite clients to work with, I think, are military, probably because I lived it for so long. So my goal is to make their transition to the area into a new house as easy as possible for them. So I've had some where I do virtual tours before they even get here, and they're willing to put an offer on a house sometimes based off the videos that I show them, which is kind of scary for me because I'm like, are you sure? Because you haven't seen this place in person. So when I'm showing a house to somebody, I'm almost trying to make them not buy it because I want to make sure it is the house that they want when they move into it. So I'm very good at details. That is what the Navy taught me. So I try to get ahead of problems and solve them before they even happen.
And that's what I find so amazing about Justin. So he's this detailed, orientated, service, smart, intelligent, and yet he really is so approachable to work with because he's just easy, right? You have those real estate agents that are just like in your face. They try to like drive up to your house and knock at the door. Are you sure you don't want to sell your house? Right? Like we've seen them all, right? There's between financial advisors and real estate agents, like we've seen every personality. But what I like about you is that you're so down to earth and you have fun with people and you're so honest. I love that approach. What do you see yourself in the next 5 years approaching? Like you had this checklist. Where do you want to be in 5 years with your industry?
So right now I'm building a website. So it's going to be geared towards sales and property management. And then it's also going to have my blog and my posts and everything for Midwest Will Move You in there. So I like that I'm doing that already. I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse, I feel like, but I can transform that into anything I want in the future. So long term, what I really want is to have my own brokerage, my own property management company, my own team. I'm thinking big scale. I like working with people. I think I do that well. And I'd like to get new agents, teach them what I've learned after I've had a little time under my belt and kind of nurture them. Real estate's a hard business to get into and be successful. I think it's what about 1 out of 4 will make it through their first year typically. Wow. So I want to build strong relationships with some of those agents and kind of help them thrive.
As you're recruiting for your new agents, I love that you have a vision and you pretty much already have all the steps to get there. That's awesome. What is your ideal when you're out there recruiting for these agents? Agents, listen. If you're recruiting for your future team, what is it that you look for?
I like innovation. I like people who think outside the box. And I think that in real estate, any industry really, that's like necessity. The market's always going to change. The industry's always going to change. So you got to come up with new ways. That like for me, my biggest job, I feel like I could be the best realtor in the world, but if I'm not generating clients somehow, I'm not going to succeed. So for me, like I've got my sphere. I'm trying to get people in my sphere. Once I get them in my sphere with my service is good, my relationships are strong, like they'll stay in my sphere, but I got to get people in the sphere. So that's what I'm working on.
That's my next question now. How do you get them in your sphere?
That's a good question.
How do we do that?
That's what I'm working on.
Yes.
I mean, and for me, that's completely different. Like I said, completely different. I do math and numbers usually, engineering stuff. So this is completely something I've never done. So I've literally just been trying to figure out all this stuff out on my own. I throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So that's how I started Midwest Will Move You, one of the reasons, so I can meet people that way. I want people to be able to find me, especially military, because that's who I love working with. So I need military to find me before they're even getting here to Omaha, so I can help them find a house, help them relocate to the area.
Only because you've lived it, right? You've lived it, you had to do it, and it wasn't probably that great, right? It's hard, right? You don't know the city.
It's definitely something I think somebody in the military can appreciate and understand what you're going through when you have to relocate every 3 years or however often it is, you know. It's tough on the family, the wife and the kids. It's not easy. And usually they're just looking for not necessarily a perfect house, but a house that will meet their needs for the time they're at that duty station. And I love talking to the military too, because I think if they do it right, real estate is a great investment that they can have long term. When they get out, say they just use their VA loans, buying more properties as they relocate, you get out, you have 4 or 5 houses. If you say you did like a full 20-year career, and that's a good, rental income, passive income that you have coming in every single month. So.
That's called retirement. Retirement, right? I love that.
And you're talking about retiring too. I mean, if you do 20 years and join, early 20s, you're talking about being early 40s and you're retired,
That's very smart. I love that. Speaking of the military, and I think I connected you with Jay Morales with the 50-mile march. Tell me your experience. This was the first year, correct?
Yeah.
Tell the audience what it is and tell me your experience.
So 50-mile march, group of, it was 90-some individuals this year, walked from the Capitol in Lincoln here to Omaha in 22 hours. So we started at about 5 p.m. on the evening on a Saturday, and then we finished up on a Sunday in the afternoon about 3.
How many years have they done that? Do you know?
I want to say it was the 5th or 6th. Yeah. It hasn't been around very long. And when they started, it was a group of 4 or 5 people, I think, and they just started walking pretty much.
If you had to guess, how many people do you think were there this time?
Oh, well, so walking, it was about 90-some, I want to say. But we finished over at Nebraska Brewing Company, and there was a ton of people there when we finished, people cheering us on and stuff. So it was really awesome. Any
good stories you can share with us on that? That's a 3-day walk, right?
Well, 3 days in 1 day.
Yeah, anything you can share that you might wow, anything?
So the worst part for me actually was not the walking, it was the stops. So we had some quick stops, 30 minutes to an hour, refuel, bathroom breaks, that type of stuff. But it starts getting cold in the night, and then when you sit down, everything tightens up. So that was the hardest part for me, actually. The best part was actually if you're walking and you need to pull over on the side to take a quick bathroom break, because surprisingly, running to catch up with the group felt way better than just walking. It works a different muscle, I guess.
He's definitely in shape. We're going to throw that out there. He's definitely in shape. The other question is, as a part of the 50-mile march, I bet you met amazing people, right?
Yeah.
Did you know people already that you met through the military, or is it a mixture of both?
I'd say a mixture of both. And the majority of the people there, I to be honest, I had never met. So you just meet a ton of interesting people. And did I even say what we were raising money for?
Yes, sure.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
We got you, yes.
So it's raising money, and all the funds go to local nonprofits supporting veterans who are facing homelessness and mental health challenges. So.
What's sad is that we really shouldn't have that problem. I mean, if someone gives service for their country, so government, just kidding, just kidding. But yes, there's a need for that, for mental illness and for homeless. When I see homeless veterans, it's like we shouldn't have that. It's very sad. Do you know how much they raised or what?
It was in the ballpark of, after this last one, it's over 500K, I want to say now. And I know their dream is to get some land, have a tiny village of small houses where, veterans can be there or in need and can get back on their feet.
So. I love that vision. I'm right now visioning that, and I think that's beautiful. Jay, good job. I love that. On to what's up your sleeve. Okay, we talked about your goals for your real estate. How about your personal goals? What do you find? I feel like you might have a show here on this station. Tell us, what do you have? What do you feel like? Ooh, yes.
Personal goals,
yes.
Huh? So outside of real estate.
Yes.
So I'd say trying to keep up with my kids. So I can tell my oldest 18, then my youngest, there's such a difference. It was so easy when I was younger, and now it is not so easy. But I can honestly say I should not have any more, because my wife made me have the vasectomy on Friday. So
that's the last, folks.
Yeah, so no more kids for us.
Is there anything that you miss about the military? I mean, it was 20 years of your life, right? You make such great connections. And my question that made me think of this, Do you stay with the same group of people, or is it always different?
Yeah, it's always
Wow.
changing. You'll kind of, especially like, so submarine community is kind of a tight-knit community normally. So as you're moving around, a lot of times you'll come across like same people, which is really cool. You haven't seen them in like 10 years, and you get to catch up. But I think that's probably the thing I miss the most. You definitely get to know somebody when you're shoved in a little, steel rod under the water for months at a time, and can't see the sun. So,
and my question now, as I'm thinking of this, what made you pick that? Like the Navy, like you could be in the air with airplanes or on the ground, like that's. I feel like it's a calling. Not everyone can be in a submarine.
Actually, the only probably if it hadn't been because my mom, she was an assistant teacher, and her student was her. Okay, so her student, the dad of that student was the Navy recruiter in town, so. He saw me, he's like, oh, well, you should join the Navy. And then I started looking into it and saw dollar signs. Goes, oh, you go through the nuclear pipeline, you make all this money. And it's like, all right, let's do it. And I got lucky. I applied for a program called Stay 21 after getting in. So with that program, they sent me to college for 3 years, did nuclear engineering during that time. And then later on, they sent me to get my master's too, so Navy treated me pretty well.
My next question is: you have all this great, right? Nuclear. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but I know it's a big deal. Why did you not go into that?
I think my whole thing was I like even in the Navy, like as much as I liked it sometimes, I always knew I'd be working for somebody, and I wanted to do my own thing. And not have to report to anybody ever again. And it didn't matter how far up I worked, I would always have a boss somewhere. So now I'm in real estate and I have 50 bosses at once.
But it's still your own little piece of pie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now I got another funny story. When you said recruiter, right? The recruiter. So I have a twin brother, and growing up in Oneida, Nebraska, it's a small town. My twin brother went to reserve for National Guard, and I remember the evening that recruiter came to our table, to my parents' table, and they're like, you have a twin sister? Bring her on in. They had me sit down, and that recruiter tried to recruit me. No, it's never going to happen. Me, no. But he was good. He was good, and it's funny because in high school, they tell you, like, I have this, and maybe 1 second I thought about it, never gonna happen. But you're right, like a great recruiter. It's such a, like, that's what got you into that 20 years.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm glad I said no. All right, so what's the next thing as far as your real estate? So I hear you're you management for companies, like is it apartment complexes?
Mainly single family residents. Again, like military, a lot of our clients are military, so they relocated the area and they hold on to that house. A lot of people now want to hold on to their houses longer because they've got a great interest rate and you can't beat that. So we take care of the property, look for it, look over it when they're gone, and I find good tenants, put them in the house, try to keep them in there as long as I can, and then replace with the new tenant once they leave. So.
Okay, now my next question is, how do you find a good tenant, right? Like that's like a never-ending job, I have a feeling, because you said you keep them, right?
Yeah,
what do you look for?
So there's always risk with rental properties. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get the best renter in there, but I do my best job to do that. So I do my best to mitigate risk. We do all the standard checks on a person: credit, rental history, background checks, and that's really the best you can do. So the best indicator I've seen is credit. That means you're going to have a tenant that's going to pay on time typically, and usually they're a responsible adult that'll take care of the property as well.
Is it usually military? Like the tenants for the renters?
We have quite a few that are military, but we also have some that aren't. Yeah, so it's about a 50-50 mix, I'd say.
And how many of those do you manage right now?
Oh shoot, at Headley Realty, there's 200 or so, but. For me, myself, like since I started a year ago, I think I've gotten 20 that I'm managing myself now so trying to keep growing that pretty much. And if I keep keep it going, I'll be pretty soon, getting it where I'm in the hundreds, so.
Wow, that's amazing. So Justin, I need to know, what do you do for fun? It seems like you have children, you have a wife, you have all this responsibility, but I know you have to do something. Like, where's it's my time?
If I get time, I would love to just sleep.
New parent, 9 months old baby, yes.
But actually, our baby, the girl though, she is by far the best baby we ever had. I mean, she actually sleeps through the night a lot of nights. She's great. But I think I love going to the gym. I've always liked that as my outlet. So I'm getting older now, so it's not quite the same as it used to be. That I would love to be able to lift like I used to be able to, but I don't think it's going to ever happen again. But I still like to go about, every weekday. Kind of helps break up the day and give me a break from work.
Is there anything out there you want to tell the audience, something about you or how we can get a hold of you, or anything that you'd like to share with the audience today? This is your plug. Let's plug Justin.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Anything. So, well, how to get a hold of me?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to find me online pretty easy, but, I answer my phone, text or phone call almost immediately. If I don't answer it, I reply very quickly. I won't just say my emails or anything like that, but that's anything like that, people can find me and reach me. Plug for Justin. Hold on, do I have a second to think?
Yeah, you have 20 seconds. He needs to sit for that first, folks, and then we're going to plug away, yes.
Plug for Justin.
Yes.
Okay. I guess local businesses is who I would love to meet, and nonprofits. Those have been my favorite interviews I've done so far, actually, of the nonprofits. Like Moving Veterans Forward, 22 Heartbeats. I met with both of them. That's actually my passion, I think, that I found with doing the Midwest Will Move You. It's my favorite interviews I did by far.
Besides mine.
Of course, besides yours.
No, I love that. I'm going to do a plug for Justin. He's a good human, right? And he has served the country for 20 years. He's a great father, a great human, a great man, and trustworthy, right? And he's smart, and he has a sense of humor. So why wouldn't you use Justin? Justin, thank you so much for being on this. It's such an honor that you bothered me, and I was so glad. I had so much fun on that interview. So make sure you follow him on his Instagram, The Midwest Will Move You. And remember, it all begins with wanting to make a difference like you do. The Midwest, military, father. Go out and make a difference and be the change. Be the one that is doing something to help others, like Justin does. I like it. Eerie. You're a good man. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. And remember, power up each other, because we have nowhere to go but up. Thank you.